All right. So I want to talk quickly, if possible, about keys, chords and keys, which is maybe an off-putting topic, maybe not. But I would say understanding this is one of the most important things, if not the most important thing that a musician can understand. But it's not a technique. It's a way of understanding music. So it's often neglected. But this is where this all came from. I was listening to Long Black Veil. Right? A little rough there. But where did that come from? I had Johnny Cash on, listening to the song, and then a few minutes later, it ended, and I was sitting there, and it was still kind of in my head. And I thought, I better get the guitar and give that a try. And so I played it, much like that, maybe a little smoother than I just played it. But I didn't look it up. I didn't look up the chords. I didn't look up the melody, the words, anything. I just started playing it. How? Magic? Could be magic. But how are people able to do this? You listen to a song, or you have a song you've heard, you're listening to people and you join in and you play. How can you do that? It's not very difficult, but it does take a little practice, and mostly it takes playing things that you haven't, just playing things, writing things. I don't want to say producing, but actually playing things on your own. What song is that? Well, it's not a song. I'm just playing chords to understand how the chords work together. If you do 5 minutes of that, you'll understand more about music than from reading a book, reading a whole book on music theory. But it's hard to get people to do that. You say, just sit there and play some chords together and listen to them. Okay, what chords do I play? Figure it out. Okay, what should I figure out? So that's kind of a challenge with getting people to understand this. I'm going on a little bit. So let's start by looking at this chart here, which you may have noticed. We have, chords in all major keys. Okay, chords in keys. Okay, so we're looking at chords in keys, and we have a chart, and we say, minor, major chord, flat, So we have a chart full of chords. Okay. Now what about this column here? Major keys. Major. Are there different kinds of keys? Oh, interesting. Maybe they're minor keys. Interesting. Okay. So then we look down here. Okay, C, C sharp, D. Okay, these are going in order. Okay, that's interesting. And then, hey, wait a minute. What are these Roman numerals here? 1, 2, 3. Maybe you don't know Roman numerals, and at least going up to 7, 6 is useful. But if not, you'll figure it out. So we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and there's another 7 column here, which you don't need to know. Yeah, you don't need to know for now. So, okay, we have some chords, we have some keys, and we have Roman numerals. Okay, let's pick a key, maybe G, right? So we've got G, key of G. So our first chord here is G. Chord in the next column is A minor. Interesting. So G and A minor. Then B minor. Well, that's interesting. Then the fourth column here is C, then D, then E minor. Okay, and these actually go in order. G, A, B, C, D, E, F sharp, you can't see. But so these are going in order. What about another one? So E, F, well, F sharp, G, well, G sharp, but A, B, C, E, F, G, A, B, C, D, E, F, G, A, B, C, D. Interesting. What about D, D, E, F, G, A, B, C, D? Interesting. What about A flat, B flat, C, D, E, F, G? That's weird. They're all in order. We have a thing in order this way, but each one of these is in order. That's interesting. Why is that? I don't know. Okay, what else do we notice? Well, the first one is is always major. This next column, that's minor. Actually, these are all minor. Well, that's interesting. What about the third column? They're minor. Huh. What about major, major, minor. And actually, these are different colors. So the major columns are all highlighted, and then the minor columns are white. That's interesting. What else do we notice? Yeah, even the top part here, you know, you have that's colored and that's not. And actually, wait a second. Now hold on, that's an I, that's a Roman numeral for 1, that's an uppercase I, but that's lowercase. Why is that lowercase? Why is that lowercase? Uppercase, uppercase, lowercase. And actually, now that I think about it, this uppercase corresponds to the major column, major, and the lowercase are minor. Oh, so that's shorthand. If you are writing out chords and you're using Roman numerals, we'll get into why we would do that in a little bit, but if we're writing them out on uppercase Roman numeral is a major chord, a lowercase 1 minor chord. And often that's, yeah, we'll stop right there. Okay, so I have major chords, I have minor chords. Each key has major and minor chords, and they seem to be in some kind of pattern, whatever that means. We don't know yet. But each key has major and minor chords. Well, how many? So C, 1, 4, 5. So we have 3 major chords, and then, let's see, 3 minor chords. Oh, that's interesting. And we have another column here with a diminished chord, which we're not talking about right now, so ignore that. But each key will have 3 major chords, will have 3 minor chords that correspond, but we won't get into that yet, and 1 diminished chord. 3 major, 3 minor, 1 diminished. Forget the diminished. So 3 major, 3 minor. Okay, what do I do with that information? Well, so let's get back to our song here. So we're in C, G, F to C. C, G, F, C. Well, so how many chords? 3. Well, C, 2 C's, but that's redundant. So we have 3 chords, C, G, F, C, F, G, F, G, C. It doesn't matter the order. 3 major chords, C, F, and G. So where do we have a C? Let's see. We've got C here, we got F here, and we've got G here. Okay. So if we take G, we got G, okay, and we got C. Oh, good. G and C. Oh, good. And then we have, oh, D, not F. Oh, wait a second. G. Different key. That's not going to work. Okay. Well, what about F? Okay, so F, we have F, and B flat. Well, we do have C, but we have B flat instead of G. So F, B flat, G, C, sorry, F. But no G. And oh, well, of course, we have C also. Let's see this. So C, F, G. Oh, C, G. To C, C, F, G. C is the key that has all of those chords. So this song I was playing could be played in any key, but I played it in C. I think it was originally in C. I didn't check. I just still had it in my head and then kind of, you know, oh, I should play that song. But, oh, there we go. Yeah, I think that was in C, and then I played it in C. I could play it in any other key, but we'll get to that in a moment. Okay, so what I'm thinking about when I'm playing is really not much. You know, it's the more you do of it, and especially if you practice in a certain way, things become automated. So a chord, I don't know what the next chord is, and kind of in that last note you say, it feels like a G is next. And you, oh good, you know. It feels like an F, right? But that's not useful. That's not, oh, you know, you just need to feel what chord is coming next. It's a lot like grammar. If you ever try to, you know, talk grammar with someone learning English or something, it's you know, oh, us went to the store. That's not right. Why not? Well, it sounds wrong. What should it be? We went to the store. Why? Because that sounds better. You know, most native English speakers or of any language know the language inside and out. They would never make certain mistakes. And you ask why, and they say, well, because it doesn't sound right. You know, oh, do you know what a subject is? What? Do you know nominative case? What? You don't know it, you know, but you know the language. Why? You've heard it. Our brains are designed to recognize patterns, especially patterns that we hear, and make sense of them. So this all will make complete sense to you once you start practicing it. Because every single song we've heard, think how many songs you've heard since you've been a kid. You know, billions of songs, some songs the same song over and over again, different songs. You hear them all the, you know, and they almost always follow this structure, you know, because it's the music of this culture. So these are the rules for this culture. If you get to Eastern music, you get different rules, different, you know, but then your ear would then recognize those patterns, and you would hear when something strays from those patterns. Anyway, so back to this. So let's think about this. C, F, and G. This is the chord from the first column of C, the fourth column, and the fifth column. So C, F, and G. Instead of referring to these as C, F, G, C, F, G, C, F, G, which is specific only to one key, we want to make this applicable to all of music. Big statement. So how do we do that? Well, instead of saying the chord is C, then F, then G, we want to think about these as the degree within the scale, which is a fancy way of saying which Roman numeral, which column is this coming from? Is it coming from the first column, the fourth, the fifth, the second, the third, whatever it is? So C, G, so that's our first column to our fifth column, to F, which is our fourth. So C, G, F, C is really 1, 5, 4, 1. 1, 1, da da, 1, 1, da da, 5, 5, da da, 4, da da, 1. You know? That's what's going on in the brains of musicians. If you don't do that, every single song you learn is brand new. You say, okay, what's the next chord? Let's see, A minor, this then, you know. But if you get the sound of this in your ear, then you stop thinking so much about chords. And the more you do of this, the more you can trust your whatever magical part of the brain is in there will give you the chord at the right moment, you know. If we keep... So that's the chorus, starts on an F. I didn't know that. C, F, to C, F, C. Right? There's the song. What chords did I play? I don't really remember because I didn't plan it out. But I could go back and then figure it out. So the chorus, instead of C, F, G, let's do numbers now. So 1, 4, 1, 4, 5, 1, 5, 1. Right? Okay. How is this useful? Why would we want to, why would we want to just think about numbers instead of letters? Because the letters are right there. Let's say I was playing this and I tried singing along. And it, maybe it's a little high. Nobody know, nobody's, ooh, that's pretty high. Let me change the key. What's a key change? Well, we change the key. So let's say we try, how about G? G's a nice key. So now I'm in G. What's my 1 chord in G? G. What's my 4 chord? C. What's my 5 chord? D. So G, C, D. G, C, D. 1, 4, 5. 1, 5, 4. 1, 4, 1, 5, 1, And so it's going to be the same numbers. Every song will have the same order of numbers, even though the chords are changing. So back to our song. C, 5, 4, 1. So we have 1, 4, 5, 4, 1. Okay. So now we're in G. We'll do that same thing, but with the chords of G. So our 1 chord is G now. Ooh, this is going to be high. This is a bad key. Maybe I can lower this. To the 5, which is D. To the 4, which is C. Back to the 1, which is G. That actually illustrated part of why we change keys. Let's say I figured this out in G first, and I thought, oh my gosh, this is way too low, this is not easy to play. Or, oh, way too high, that's not easy to play. Let me try another key. How about C? Oh great, when I play it in C, the melody is all right in here on the top 2 strings. So it's nice and comfortable, I don't have to abandon my chord to get to the high notes, or play so low that I lose all my harmony. That was a lot. If that doesn't make sense, don't worry about it. But it will, the more you do of this. You'll say, oh, of course, I want to just change the key to get the melody to a better place, or get change the key to a place where the melody suits my voice. Or I'm playing with someone else, you know, who has a trumpet, and they say, well, this has got to be in B flat. You say, oh, great. So let me put this in B flat, which is actually not on the, oh, there. So B flat, B da 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 da. E flat, da, da, F to the 5, F, da, 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 E flat, da, da, B flat. You know, well, that's not going to be great because all of these awful chords, unless you have a capo. To F, which is our 5, to E flat. Right? B flat is not a great chord for that on the key for that on the guitar. But it may be the perfect key for B flat, for a trumpet, which is a B flat instrument. Ignore that. So you can play any song in any key, but some keys will be easier on your instrument or more difficult on your instrument. Some keys will match your voice better than other keys. Some keys will match someone else better than other keys. There's also the, well, I want to play it just like Johnny Cash, so I find the key that they played it in. So the keys are completely changeable. And changing key is very easy once you accept that music is written in this way. It is structured. This is the structure of music. If you want to be an architect or an engineer, you need math. You need to understand how numbers and addition and subtraction work. You would never say, you know what, if I do that, it's going to really limit my creativity because then I'm always thinking about adding and subtracting. I just want to design beautiful things, you know, just design them. That's not going to work. Of course you need the language to describe and to figure everything out. You can still be creative, but there needs to be some structure underneath what you're doing. But so many musicians, you say, this is really an important thing to study. And they say, if I learn all of this, then I'm no longer going to be creative because I'm only going to play the way everyone else does. That's why music theory is awful. You know, people say that because they don't understand what music theory is. Maybe that's a strong statement. But someone writes a song and they say, I reject everything about music theory. I don't need to know any of it. It's no good, you know. I don't even know how many times I've heard that. A lot. You say, well, okay, show me a song you've written. And you say G, and then it goes to C, da 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 to D, da 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 da. You say, oh, that's a nice song. You know, that's in G, G, C, D. And they say, no. I don't write songs that way. It's not in a key. This is coming from within me. You know, you say, but your frets are designed for this system. So everything you play is part of this system. you're not playing an Indian folk song that has different microtonal tuning and different time signatures and everything. You're playing 4 chords in the key of G in 4/4 time with the, you know, you're playing the music you've heard, which is all in this system. So everything you come up with will be out of this system. So refusing to accept the reality of music will just kind of slow your development. Which is not to say people aren't great who don't understand this. But it takes a long time to intuitively understand this unless you just accept, okay, I just got to take the time and kind of study it this way. So let's do a couple more key changes just to kind of understand this a little bit. So let's say we have a song like, what is that, Blue Moon. So G to E minor, C, D. G, E minor, C, D. So we have G, C, and D, our 3 major chords. But now we have a minor chord. So let's look. What has G, C, and D? Well, C, okay, C and G, no D. Okay, what about, okay, D, G, A. Okay, so it's not D. Oh, how about G, G, C, D? Perfect. Oh, and E minor. So E minor is in this key. E minor, D, C, G. So I'm playing a 1, and I go to E minor, which is my 6, in lowercase because it's a minor chord. So 1, 6, 4, 5. 1, 6, 4, 5. G, E minor, C, D. 1, 6, 4, 5. Da da. Okay, so let's try this in another key. How about C? How about C? So 1 is C, da, da, to 6, which is A minor, da, da, to 4, which is F, da, to G, da, 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 da. Easy, okay? What about D? How about that? So D over to B minor. Ooh, bar chord. Well, that might be tough. Da, 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 G, da, da, A. 1, 6, 4, 5, you know? So any 1, 6, 4, 5 is going to sound that way no matter where it is. Any 1, 2, 5, 1 is going to sound away. Any 1, 6, 2, 5 is going to sound away. So if you're talking with a musician, you're talking about numbers. They're saying, I learned this great thing. You go to the 4, and then you make the 4 minor. Sounds really nice. A minor 4, that's kind of, you know, C. Ooh, C, F, F minor, back to C. Huh. Actually, I think Space Oddity, I don't know. There's a part in Space Oddity that just my fingers recognized when I did that. But that's C to F minor to C. So we can start modifying these chords. Maybe take a major chord and make it minor, or take a minor chord and make it major. But if you don't have a language of description, so for example, if we want to go C to E major, C to E major to F to G, right? Now we're using our 3 chord, but we're making it major. So if I then want to change, so C, E, F, G, that sounds like something. That sounds like something. And this happens when you put things together this way, you instantly go, oh, that's something. And sometimes you can find it, sometimes you can't. But okay, so we have C, we have a major 3, then we have an F, 4, then a 5. 1, major 3, 4, 5. So maybe we can go down to, how about A, I guess. Where was A? So A, so C sharp minor, we'll make that C sharp major to D to E. A to C sharp minor to D to E. has a certain sound. That sounded like something I can't play. Flight of the Conchords had a song that was kind of in there, but as opposed to the C sharp minor, which we would expect. A, C sharp minor, D, E. We do A, C sharp major. So that has a different tension than the minor chord. How we would describe this is if we just use the chords that belong in the key, quote unquote belong in the key, the chords of the key, the adjective is diatonic. So I have a progression, and it's all diatonic, meaning it only has these notes. So maybe it just has C, D minor, and G. Maybe just those 3 chords. Or maybe it has some more. But it wouldn't have D major, C, D major, G. We wouldn't, well, C, G major, F, D. You know, if we're in the key of C, I put a D major in there, so that's a major too. There's a study of harmony in jazz, mostly in jazz, but it's called functional harmony. And the idea, we don't need to get into what that is. It's a really useful thing to study. But the idea is D. Maybe I won't get into that. But there are things called secondary dominance. So a lot of people would think of this, if I do a D major to a G, it's a... Anyway, I would say ignore everything I just said until right now. So the way you want to think about this, if you're just getting into this, is these chords can be modified. Keep the modifications the same as you go to other keys. What's going to happen is the more you do of this, the more you get it in your ear. And then you can sense a 1, a 4, a 5, a 1. So let's take a simple song like Mary Had a Little Lamb, and let's try it in C. So we have C, F, G, C. Da 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 da. Plus our minor chords potentially, but da 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 da. There's going to be a chord change here, I think. We could keep with C and see how it sounds. So da 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 da. No. Mary had a little lamb. Little lamb, little lamb. So we need a new chord. So let's try F or G. So we'll try F first. Da 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 da. That doesn't sound right. So 1 da 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 1 da da 4. 4 wasn't right. That's not a 4 chord. Da 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 da. No, not quite. Well, let's try the 5 chord then. So back to the da 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 da. Oh, I think that's it. 1 da 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 1 da da 4 da da 5 da 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 da. No, but it's not. So 1 da 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 1 da da 5 and then a change. So we're on the 5. So we're probably going to go to F4, I guess, or back to 1. Well, let's see. Da 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 5 da 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 4 da. Mary had a little lamb, little lamb, little. No, no, no. Well, then let's try 1. So 1 da 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 5 da 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 back to 1. Let's try that. Da 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 da. That's it. It's only 2 chords. Da 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 da. So that whole nursery rhyme is 1 da da 1 da 5 da da 1 da 1 da da 1 da 5 da da 1. That's so easy. Let's put it in another key. How about E? Da da. As soon as I said E, I thought, oh man, B. I don't want to play B. Usually I do a B7 instead, just because it's close enough and it's a lot easier. So let's see how it sounds on this. Perfect. Chords with numbers sound more difficult than they are. Not always, but a B major is an unpleasant chord. I don't like playing it this way. B major 7 is much easier. Here I have to go from the 2nd fret to the 4th fret with these 2 fingers. So that's kind of a big reach. If I rearrange like this, now I'm just a fret apart. I could play this 10 times as long as I could play that. There's a little strain going on here. There's no strain there. This is called a B major 7, has a different sound, so you think, oh, B major 7, that's tough. This is a side note, but just because a chord has a fancy name doesn't mean it's a difficult chord to play. Sometimes a simple chord is a lot more difficult to play than a fancy chord. So, that's just something to keep in mind. Okay, anyway, so back to our songs, back to our keys. If you are trying to improve as a musician, the best thing you can do, in my opinion, this is, I think, the thing that kind of set me off on an upward trajectory, if I may be so immodest as to say that. But what did that for me was, I figured this out. I didn't have a chart like this, but I just, from song after song after song, oh, this song has C, F, and G. Especially early rock songs, Buddy Holly and, I don't know, Elvis, Little Richard, all those songs. You're playing those songs, and, C, F, G, the next song. C, F, G, the next song. C, G, F, C. G, C, F, C, 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 another C, F, G. Oh, here's one, A, D, E. A, D, okay, here's one, A, D, E. Here's one, D, G, A. D, G, A. A, D, E. C, F, G. G, and you start going, wait a second, there's some pattern here, And then you kind of realize, what if I try playing this song but with the C, F, G chords instead of the G, C, D chords? And you do that, and then you go, oh, that works too. Oh, so that they kind of work in any way. I didn't have the language to say, oh, I'm changing keys. Here's my 1, here's my 4, here's my 5. But you can see the concept and start to understand it even if you can't explain it. But a chart like this is what helps put it all together. So I would say that once that clicked for me, I have these vivid memories of sitting outside in the backyard and just trying to figure out simple songs like that. Christmas carols. Nobody wants to play a Christmas carol, and nobody wants to listen to Christmas carols. But if you want to learn how chords work and how to play the guitar, that's what you need to be working on. Because they're just simple and usually just 3 major chords. As you get comfortable with those, you can get more. But something like... Great, and I ended up here, which sort of happens if you're not in the best key. So that was Silent Night. That was in G. So the chords were just G, C, D. Da 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 da. Right, just those 3 chords in various combinations. I don't like humming or singing, but you sort of have to demonstrate this stuff. If I were to play that, I'd add the melody. Right, but you can't add the melody until you can intuit what the chords are, and that just comes from trying. Da 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 da. It's going to be a new chord. If I'm in G, it's going to be G, C, or D. Da 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 da. No. Da 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 da. Oh, okay. Da 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 da. No. Da 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 da. Back to G. Okay. So 1. Da 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 4. Da 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 1. Da 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 5. Da 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 1. Da 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 4. Da 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 1. There aren't a million combinations, so it doesn't take long before you can. Oh, okay. Let me try some songs in A. Da 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 This one's... So that threw me because I kept trying to put a 4 in there. I think there's got to be a 4 somewhere in here. D, no, it doesn't work. It was just 1, 1 and 5, A and E. Maybe, I don't know, whatever. You know, and you run into that a lot. But you try, you get stuck. You know, it's got to be this or this or this or this. What is it? You can't get it. You go look online and say, oh, is it G? Oh, okay. Last point I'll make on this is if I'm in C, the chords are C, F, and G. I might start on a C, but I might not. I might start on the F. F. To the C. F, C. 4, 5, 4, 5, 4, 5, 1. Right. A lot of people will look at that if they look at the music or they play it or whatever and say, okay, F to G, well, we're in F. It starts on F, we're in F. You know, if a song is in a key, it often starts. If the song is in C, it often starts on C, but not always. It might start on A minor, might start on F, it could start on any key. So what you have to do is look at the collection of chords and then determine what key it is based on that. And that can be tough if you have, say, C, F, G, and maybe this is a major chord. The Rolling Stones do that all the time. See? You know, so you make this 2-chord major and put that in. But then when you're looking at the song, you say, C, okay, C, D, G, great, I'm in G. And an F, oh, I might be in C, wait, what chord? You know, so it takes a little bit to figure that out. But anytime you hit a stopping point or a breaking point, you look up the song, you figure it out, and not just say, oh, okay, it was a D, oh, okay. But say, oh, it was a major 2. Oh, that's what it was. That's that sound. And the next time you're playing a song and that comes up, you might then say, I'm in G, C, D. Now my major 2 is going to be A major. So we would expect A minor, but so G, C, D, and now let's do A major instead of A minor. So G. And back to G. You know, so things that are non-diatonic occur all the time, and they just are random things. Hey, I know that sometimes A sounds neat. When? In the key of A? No, I don't know. Just sometimes it sounds neat. Well, it sounds neat when it's, you know, the 2. So A major as a 2 instead of A minor. A major 2 is what you like the sound of, not the sound of an A. But a lot of people who write songs will just, if they know 7 chords, they just put them together and try. C. You know, you just kind of do that till you find something that works. Okay. So a lot of the songs that we know and love maybe follow these rules, but also may have been written by someone who doesn't understand this and is just putting chords together in ways that sound nice. And they all have rules. We could say, oh, well, this sounds nice. It's a C, so it's C, F, G, but we also have a D major and an E major. So these are both creating certain sounds. Oh, and then there's in the chorus, there's an A major instead of an A minor. So we're in the key of C, but we have major chords, and that gives a certain sound. But when you play someone, and Bowie is someone I think of. When I play a David Bowie song, maybe he's this musical genius, you know. I mean, clearly he's he's Bowie, of course. But as I play in the songs, and you kind of, especially you play one Keith Richards song, oh, okay, another one, and pretty soon you say, I know it, I see how Keith Richards thinks of music, and I see what he knows, you know. Just by playing the chords, you see the patterns they keep using. You go, oh, this is, so if I'm Keith Richards, this is how I'm writing. And you may say, well, his guitar is tuned in an open major chord tuning, so everywhere he puts his finger is a major chord. That's probably why he always does major chords. Anyway, so when I'm playing Bowie or trying to figure out a Bowie song, and you get the sense there's a lot of this. If you're David Bowie, you're writing a song. know, you get the sense there's a lot of trying major chords till you find nice patterns that work. And that's not to say that's a bad approach. That's a, you know, clearly that's a good approach, you know. Anyway, I'm kind of straying here, but I would say just sitting there with the guitar, with a song in mind or not, start by putting chords together, see if you can then maybe pick, you know, let it be. So G, D, E minor, C, 1, 5, 6, 4. All right, so we can do a 1, 5, 6, 4 in any key, you know. And you start transposing, and the more you do of that, the better you get at that. And then you can start trying to figure out songs by ear, transposing them, writing your own songs, understanding what sounds are, and you know, then the melody comes next. So then if you know a song is C, G, F, C, and you can add a melody. Okay. If I sit down, you know, especially a long day of work or something, you sit down at night, you might not want to be studying a new song. You might instead just want to play. And so this is where this is coming from. You say, okay, I'm in C, so I know my chords. I don't know what that was. I've never played that again, and I'm never going to play that again. But the chords came C. I don't know what I played. There was a C, and I did that, and then I think there was an A minor in there, or G. I don't know. But at the time, this is what I was thinking. Chords based on the key, and then a little melody over that, and then it just keeps going. But you can do that for hours. Four chord, 1, 5, 1, to the 1, 7, to the 4. I did an A minor in there and a G, you know, something. I don't really know. You know, as you're going, you don't want to stop and think, well, what would sound nice next? It's just kind of the muscle memory, or the neurons, or the magic, you know, whatever it is. But anyway, this is a thing that is so important to study if you want to move up, and much easier than you think. You know, you start getting and go, oh, that's it? Keys? Oh, I thought keys were tough. They're pretty easy. And then anything else you study is informed by this language. Oh, jazz, there's a neat thing where you get the chord that's just in between the 5 and the 6. So G down to F. So G down to F. G in between to the F. 5, 4, 5, 4. We want the chord in between the 5 and the 4, you know. Maybe something like that. But once you understand this language, then you can study anything else much, much more efficiently. Or just play, or figure out songs, or write songs, so I'd say this is the big, I don't know, one of the most important things to study that most people don't study, at least not intentionally. Most people kind of figure it out intuitively or what. But I would just get the instrument out, get the coffee, and work on that. Okay, hopefully that made sense. It may not have. But anyway, good luck. All right.